Hello.
Could you tell us what students who take media in year 10 and 11 can expect to do on the course?
Yes, I can. It's a brand new course. There's a mixture of practical and theory-based content, and also an exam.
Great. And so what's the breakdown of the course in terms of exam and coursework?
Okay. The exam is 25% of the course, so it's a smaller percentage. However, the coursework side of it is 75%. And that entails practical work, theory-based work, editing, and then the exam is on a few things like the media industry in general, and then terms that we cover over the 2 years as well.
Okay, so what would a typical lesson in media involve?
Okay, we use the school as a location at Key Stage 4. We'll go and film. Maybe we could be doing something based on an advert or a short film. We'll film something, come back. We'll actually import it into the Macs. Each learner will have a Mac for themselves, so they have the opportunity to use the editing software and things like that. So if you're a keen budding YouTuber or a filmmaker or someone interested in the media industry in general, really, it gives you that opportunity to acquire those skills.
Great. And where could the course lead in the future?
We do a level 3 course, so at year 12, 13, we do a course that will give you the points then in UCAS to go off to university and study. It's a very popular course. We have 2 columns in that now as well. And then obviously into the world of the media industry, or you could actually go to university and do it. There's a lot of local buzz at the moment with the media industry in general in South Wales because of things like Casualty, Doctor Who, the BBC film studios there. There's a lot of work being generated at the moment in the local area, as well as a big film studio going, I think, close to Bridgend. So it's quite exciting, very exciting at the moment.
Excellent.
So GCSE in drama, it's broken into 3 parts. First of all, there's a practical exam. In that, an examiner will come in and will watch you perform. Now, you'll be performing in a group, so you won't be performing on your own, and you'll work together in that group either to create your own play or to perform a scripted play, whichever one you would prefer. Now, that's exactly the same as the clips you've watched on YouTube in your Year 9 lessons of the Year 11s performing that exam from 2 years ago. So you've already seen those, so you know the type of exam that you will be doing, and you will produce something similar to that. That is worth 60% of your final mark. The next component is a written piece of coursework. You'll complete that in your lessons, so you'll have special computer room lessons where you'll go and you'll complete that, so you won't have a lot of written work to do at home. You get lots of support from your teacher to try to make sure that you get a good mark in that, and you'll be writing about performance that you'll see throughout the course. So you'll get taken on different trips to the theatre, and then you'll write about one of those that you'll choose to do for your written piece of coursework. The final 20% of it is a practical piece of coursework where you will be performing short tasks in your lessons, and your teacher will mark you for those short tasks. And there'll be similar tasks to the ones you do at the moment in Year 9, but they'll be using a lot more technical equipment like the lighting, the sound, the costume, the props, in order to make your performances that little bit better and that little bit more believable. On the whole, results are really, really good. So last year we had 95% of people got an A to C, the year before we got 100% of people got an A to C. So we find that pupils in St Julian's do really well on this course.
What's the course like?
Hopefully it's enjoyable. That's the main thing that me and Mrs. Leaf want it to be like. We want pupils to come in and really enjoy their drama lessons. It's a bit different because obviously you are working in a group a lot of the time. It's very practical, so you're doing a lot of acting, a lot of performing. You're not sat down at a desk very often. And we find that our Year 11 and our Year 10 pupils really, really enjoy the subject, find it a really enjoyable subject to do because it is so different to the other subjects. You do have to perform in front of your class, so you will be performing in front of your class exactly like you do in Year 9. You don't have to perform up on stage. A few people get nervous about thinking, will I have to go up on the stage? Will I have to do one of the whole school shows? You don't have to do that at all as part of GCSE drama. You only have to perform in front of your class, which is a class usually of about 20, 22 people.
How will it help you in the future?
Mainly it's through transferable skills. Obviously not everyone who does the course is going to go on and become an actor, but they will learn skills that will help them in whatever job they do. So they'll learn how to communicate, they'll learn group work, they'll also become more confident. And most jobs that you do, most careers that you follow, involve either speaking in front of people or working together in a team in order to achieve some kind of goal, achieve some type of task. And that's what you're doing in drama in every lesson, is you're working together in a team to put on a performance. So the transferable skills that you learn will be really helpful in whatever career you go into.
This is BTEC Health. Mr. Hammond, could you tell us what students who take the course can expect to do in years 10 and 11, please?
I can. Over the 2 years, the students will study 4 units of work. One of them will be on communication, one will be looking at the individual needs of people needing health or social care, one of them will be looking at the human lifespan, and finally you'll be looking at the impact of diet on health and social care.
And what's the breakdown of the course in terms of coursework and exam?
The 4 units consist of 3 internally assessed units, which are coursework, and 1 externally assessed unit, which will be exam.
And where could the course lead to in the future?
This course opens up many avenues. If you're interested in anything to do with medical jobs, anything to do with caring jobs, if you're interested in the public sector, such as police or fire service, or if you're interested in teaching.
Okay, so this is GCSE Business Studies. Mr. Gubb, could you tell us what students who take Business Studies can expect to do on the course, please?
Okay, so the Business Studies course is basically ranges from introducing students to business studies, the terminology, basically understanding what different parts of business are about, how you set up a business initially, ranging right up to then how large multinational companies are run, such as your kind of Apple, McDonald's, etc. So we go right from the beginning of setting up businesses to obviously becoming multinational businesses and how they get there and how they've been successful.
Great, and what's the breakdown in terms of exam and coursework?
So business studies at GCSE is now 100% exam. If you've had older brothers or sisters or cousins that might have done it in the past, it used to be a BTEC, and then more recently there has been a coursework element to it, but now your year will be the first year starting it where it's 100% exam. So you need to be prepared for 2 exams that you will take at the end of year 11, one on the work you've studied in year 10 and one on the work you studied in year 11, but both are exams. One of them is just over an hour and 15, and the other one is 2 hours long, so they're quite long exams.
And where could the course lead to in the future?
In terms of your opportunities in the future, business studies leaves you open to all sorts of career paths. Obviously the stuff that we do is about how business is involved in everyday life, but more specifically if you're looking at anything involved in management, business studies possibly either at A-level or at university. Obviously anything in law as well is very useful because we do elements of business law, and there's also the more creative sides of business, such as your marketing, promotional material, that some of you may be interested if you're doing studies such as art or product design or anything along those lines. I guess then the other side of it, which is the more, sometimes seen as the more practical side of business studies, you've obviously got finance and accounting that it can be linked to.
Fantastic. This is GCSE Spanish. Miss Sexton, could you tell us what students who take Spanish can expect to do on the course, please?
The GCSE course is very similar to the Key Stage 3 course. The lessons will be structured in very much the same way. You'll do the same sorts of games and activities that we do in Key Stage 3, so it will be quite a familiar course. In studying the course, you'll study topics such as holidays, the environment, healthy living, so it gives you a sort of a broad understanding of Spanish while sort of enhancing the skills you already have.
And what's the breakdown of the course in terms of exam and coursework?
There is no coursework, but the exam is split into 4 different sections. So there's 25% awarded to writing, 25% awarded to reading, 25% to speaking, and 25% to listening.
Great, and where could the course lead in the future?
Well, with the uncertainty of the British economy at the minute and Brexit on the horizon, I think there's not been a better time to be a language learner. And when Spanish offers so much in terms of it's the 4th biggest language in the world, it's spoken in 21 different countries around the world, studying Spanish would give you an advantage, so to speak, in the global jobs market. It would give you something to offer an employer that many people across the UK just do not have.
Thank you. Okay, this is BTEC ICT. Mr. Backhouse, could you tell us what students who take the course can expect to do?
The students on the course will expect to follow a course that will cover 4 units. Those units will include things such as looking at working online, producing a digital portfolio, and then a number of other options that could include using spreadsheets, databases, animation, audio, or graphics.
And what's the breakdown of the course in terms of exam and coursework?
The breakdown of the course is there is a 25% exam element on the online world, where pupils learn about online working and will take a screen examination in one of the IT rooms. So that's an examination based online.
Great. And where could the course lead in the future?
The course will give access to possible A-level, possible vocational courses at level 3, and if students decide to leave school at the end of year 11, then it's an excellent CV builder.
Fantastic. Thank you.
If you take GCSE music, you will learn to perform on your instrument or sing to a high standard. The music course is based on 4 areas of listening and 2 set works. One is the Rondo by Henry Purcell, and the second is a performance of Handbags and Glad Rags by the Stereophonics. You will be given lots of opportunities to perform as a soloist and as a group, and you will be encouraged to perform to an audience as often as possible. You will need to compose 2 different pieces. One is set by the exam board, but the second piece is a free choice, so you can really express your own musical interests. You will sit a 1-hour listening exam, and you will need to be able to read music, but don't panic if you can't read music now, because you will be taught to read music during the course. If you take GCSE music, you can progress to A-level studies and then go on to college or university to take a music degree before working in the music industry. But even if you don't want to work in the industry, music helps you with a whole range of employability skills such as teamwork, good communication and self-management. So tick that box for music GCSE, as the famous philosopher Nietzsche once wrote, "Without music, life is a mistake."
Morning everyone, this is BTEC Graphics. If your brothers or sisters have done graphics in the past, they would have done the GCSE course, but starting this September we're doing a new course which is BTEC Graphics. What that means for the course is that there's no exam at the end of year 11 like there would have been with the GCSE. With the BTEC Graphics course you will do 4 modules throughout years 10 and year 11. That work will be assessed and that will give you your final grade at the end of the course. Some subjects where you have an exam in the hall, that won't happen on the BTEC Graphics course at all. It will just be assessing the work that you do in class. You'll do lots of design and make tasks on the course, so you might do things like creating promotional items, you might be asked to promote a sports team or a new child's toy that's come out, or you might be asked to promote a band, and you would make things like CD covers, packaging, displays, posters, t-shirts to promote something new that's being released. You might also do projects where you make things like architecture models of hotels or houses or flats, and you'd use the school's laser cutter to manufacture those models. You might also do projects where you make models of things like biplanes or flying machines or aircraft, and you'd use the school's laser cutter to manufacture those products. Other projects we've done in the past are things like making a board game. So you might be asked to make a board game based on the theme of a historical event, or things like space exploration. But you'll do projects where you make things using things like the 3D printer, the school's laser cutter, the laser printer, but you'll also design and manufacture things by hand. So it's up to you really what sort of mix you want to do, whether you prefer making things by hand, whether you prefer making things using the computers. The 4 modules that will be assessed on the course are investigating design techniques and manufacturing techniques. You'll also do a creative project. You'll do an element called communicating ideas in 3D, and then you'll also do a design portfolio which will also be assessed at the end of the course as well. At some point during year 10 there'll also be a trip, so we have done a trip in the past to the Design Museum in London. This year year 10s are being offered the chance to go to Cadbury World in Birmingham, and we look at things like production lines and manufacturing at Cadbury World in Birmingham on the trip. So where can the course lead to in the future? So we do an A-level product design course at St Julian's, and students who take BTEC Graphics would be able to do that course at St Julian's, and then obviously that can lead on to university if you want to. But the course would also be really beneficial for students who want to do things like video game design, if you want to be an architect in the future, and if you wanted to be any sort of designer like an interior designer or work on newspapers or magazines, it would be a really beneficial course for you as well. But also, if you wanted to do a job where you need to make a lot of resources and things, so something like a primary school teacher where you need to make displays and things to help the students, it would be a really beneficial course for you as well. Thank you very much. Okay, this is sport. Mr. Newman, could you tell students who take the course what they can expect to do in years 10 and 11, please?
So if you select GCSE PE, you will do a 2-year course where it's split 50-50, where it's 50% theory, where in the classroom we learn about the body, we learn about methods of training, we learn about different aspects of a healthy, active lifestyle, etc. That you'll do an exam just like your other subjects at the end of year 11. The other half of the course is to do with practical sides, so you'll do different team and individual sports, and you'll be assessed and you'll have a practical examination very close to your year 11 exams, and you combine both your theory and practical grade to get your overall mark for that. You do 7 periods in total, so that's obviously 4 more than you do at Key Stage 3, and as I said, just to reinforce that you do both classroom-based lessons and practical lessons.
Great, and where could the course lead to in the future?
So at Key Stage 5, so in our 6th form, we offer a BTEC level 3, and that's where we cover different topics in psychology, anatomy and physiology, sports coaching, and that is a pathway for some of our students here at St Julian's to go on to university to do a variety of different sports courses, from sports coaching to psychology to biomechanics. You can go into teaching. Obviously, my job as a PE teacher, I would have done PE and A-level PE, etc. in school. So there's a variety of different options within the sporting industry that you can do by starting off at GCSE and our Key Stage 5 BTEC programme as well.
Great. This is BTEC Construction.
Okay, so if you opt to take the BTEC Construction course, you can obviously expect a lot of physically demanding work. You'll be doing a lot of practical work. We teach you in the basic skills of bricklaying, and if you show a good willingness to work, we'll move on to tiling, plumbing and plastering, so you've got all that to look forward to. You also have to be prepared to do a bit of writing. There are theory modules linked to every single unit. You will also need to be aware that you have to sit an exam. If you get through all of these things successfully though, you can use the credits of this course to help you get onto a college course, which will mean that you can specialise in a certain area of the construction industry, or you could even use the credits from this course to help you gain an apprenticeship, so that's where you get paid as you learn the trade. If you get through your training completely successfully, you can obviously go into the construction industry working in the trade that you specialised in, or you could even stay on with your training. You could end up being an architect or maybe a site manager, where you'll get paid that little bit more money and you won't have to get quite so dirty. So that's an option for you. With the course, we provide you with all the health and safety equipment that is needed, but we do ask you to bring your own steel toe cap boots. Because of the constraints of the room, we are limited to 13 pupils, so you can imagine the course fills up rather quickly. With all that considered, we hope to see you in September.
This is BTEC Childcare. Mr. Hammond, could you tell us what students who take childcare can expect to do on the course, please?
I can. Over the 2 years, the students will study 3 units. The units will be on how children develop, they will be looking at how children remain safe, and then we'll also be looking at how children communicate with adults throughout their childhood.
And what's the breakdown of the course in terms of exam and coursework?
Over the 2 years, 2 of the units will be internally assessed with coursework, which some of it will be sent off to the exam board, and 1 of the units will be externally assessed with an exam.
And where could the course lead to in the future?
This course is designed for anyone that's interested in working in nurseries, teaching assistants, teachers, or if you're just interested in working with children in general.
Okay, so this is engineering. Mr. Hemming, can you tell us what students who take engineering can expect to do on the course, please?
Okay, so this is BTEC engineering. Technically, it's probably BTEC mechanical engineering, would be more realistic. It's in terms of what we do on the course, you learn about all the different sort of engineering disciplines. So you learn about things like materials and how things are made and how things are produced. Also, you learn about how things are made in metal. The course has nothing to do with the automotive industry, so it's not about working on cars or anything like that. It's a common misconception that we get. The actual content of the course is fairly, there's a lot of theory, there's an exam, but it's also practical as well. Because it's a BTEC, if you complete all of the modules successfully, you will be successful at it. However, the difficulty can be in this course that if you fail to complete a module or fail to be successful with one module, the course will not be as successful. So choose this course carefully if you are going to choose it. It's not an easy course, it is a difficult course, but for those that are successful with it, you'll do really well with it.
And what sort of things will students manufacture on the course?
Okay, so you will, in the first year, in year 10, we'll do a variety of sort of small projects. So you'll do a little bit of pewter casting, you'll do a big theory project where you have to learn, where we basically analyse a product, take it apart, find out how it's made, find out what sort of process are involved with its construction. In year 11 then, it's pretty much making throughout the whole year. There are theory lessons that have to go in, so we have to learn how things are made, but we'll be using equipment, so we use equipment such as this, so milling machines, we use lathes, we use all different sorts of engineering equipment for working with metal, and you will make 3 projects. You'll make one robot, which is the main project. It's 100% made out of metal, where you learn about all the different skills in order to assemble a small robot. And you will also have a task where you have to show your ability to read technical drawing, produce a part of technical drawing in metal. And the final one is a big group task where you make an engineering link and then we build a picture out of metal by linking it all together.
Great, and what's the breakdown in terms of exam and coursework, please?
So the exam is a module, so it's one of the modules. There's 4 modules that you have to complete. So it's roughly about 25%, but it's failure in one module is failure in all of them. So it's basically all the modules equal 100%. Any one module missing equals 0. So it's a pass or fail course. You have to complete every part. So it's not easy, it's difficult.
And where could the course lead to in the future?
So all sorts of engineering disciplines, working in manufacturing, working in aeronautical, automotive industry, working with producing your own parts, maybe your own company, entrance to architecture, entry into working in any discipline where things are made in any capacity. So it could link you into all different sorts of areas that you may not be familiar with. So it could even link you into things like manufacturing production, textiles production, all different areas. Anything that's made and has metal of some description within it, this course can lead into it. Not necessarily, it won't lead you as such into being a mechanic working on cars or vehicles. It's not necessarily that type of course. It will lead you into anything where production is the key part.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so this is GCSE Product Design. Mr. Hemming, could you tell us what students who take product design can expect to do on the course, please?
Okay, so product design is basically a sort of collection of the different skills that you do in design and technology, sort of like you do at Key Stage 3, but all put together. So in product design, you can expect to be able to work, if you choose to, in things like electronics or resistant materials, that's working with woods, metals and plastics. You can work to some extent with different fabrics, different materials, but in a sort of more constructive way, so manufacturing products that use a whole range of different materials and different media in order to produce products. It's 50-50 in terms of coursework to exam.
And in year 10, you will basically make like a practice run for year 11, but you'll make all different sorts of projects where you have a good go at what's actually required in year 11 in terms of making. So you make a couple of big projects, showing your skills and things like that, developing your skills to use tooling and designing, being creative. The year 11 is one long year of a coursework task where you will make one big project, and it can be a big project, and you will complete a portfolio of work along with the actual made item. And in the past we've had a whole range of different things, from students making sort of touch screen handheld games from last year, all the way through to people making furniture and making fairly basic designs, but quite creatively. So they might make shelving and things like that. But there's no limit really in terms of what you can make. You can branch out as wide and as complex as you want, or you can narrow it into more traditional skills and still get very high quality outcomes and good results from it.
Great. And where could the course lead in the future?
Okay, so product design is it's such a wide-ranging course that it gives you access to a huge range at university. So all the way through from as it's product design, so the basic actually design of products, so working in designing, all the way through to manufacturing, giving you a grounding to go into working factory-based work, so working with machinery and machine tools, all the way through to working in architecture, working in civil engineering, working with all different sort of, materials and polymer technologies, working across the range as an entry route into engineering, for example. So it's a big foundation-based subject that's used at university to determine whether or not students are suitable to go into those higher occupations of study.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Okay, in GCSE history, you're going to study 4 units. Each unit is worth 25% of your GCSE. 3 of these units will be exams, and these are worth 75% of your GCSE. One exam will be sat at the end of year 10, the other 2 will be sat at the end of year 11. Your final unit will be controlled assessment, which we'll work on in class, and this is worth 25% of your GCSE. There's going to be another 4 modules. The first module you're going to study is called Depression, War and Recovery, from 1930 to 51. Here you're going to look at one of the most important periods in British history. You're going to focus on the effects of the Depression in the 1930s, and how Britain recovered from this. You'll also study how Britain prepared for the war, how the people of Britain coped with the war. This will be followed by examining how Britain recovered from the war and the important changes that were made, such as the formation of the NHS. Second unit is a really good unit, and so we'll find out about the rise of Adolf Hitler and how he went from being homeless and unemployed to the leader of Germany. You'll study how he became popular in Germany and how he got people to vote him into power. This will be followed by a study of actions that he took once he was in power, including his persecution of the Jews and how he made decisions which led to the outbreak of the Second World War. Third unit, you'll look at changes in health and medicine from 1340 up until the present day. And here you'll gain an overview of the key developments in health and medicine over the last 700 years. This will include looking at various diseases such as the Black Death and the Great Plague, and how medical knowledge has improved over the centuries. And this is a really good unit if you're interested in a career in medicine, which you'll find out lots about the history now it's developed. Your final unit will be your non-examination assessment, your coursework, and it's split into 2 parts. In the one part, it's all on the First World War. The one part, you look at how women played an important role in the First World War, taking over men's jobs when they went to fight. You'll then examine different interpretations of the generals in the war and look at whether generals like he were butchers and bunglers, or whether they were great generals who helped Britain to win the war. Why study history at St Julian's? You might be asking yourself. Well, there's 6 sort of key reasons for that. The first is we get really good exam results, they're amongst the best in the school. Secondly, it's a valued qualification. Universities look upon it really favourably. It's seen as a facilitating subject. They value the skills as well as the knowledge that you learn. There's loads of transferable skills to any career, like your literacy skills, your analytical skills, and your research skills. It gives you a real understanding of the past and how it influences today. So it'll help you, understanding the past will help you to understand things that are happening now, like Brexit, the rise of Donald Trump, tension between Russia and the USA, and so on. You can use your history degree in loads of different careers. Some have got nothing to do with history, like journalism, business, law, police, politics, the media, teaching, education, tourism, all sorts of things. And finally, we offer, for every GCSE group, we offer a trip abroad to the front lines of the First World War. For any further questions, please see a history teacher or Mr. Murtsy in West 24.
Cool.
All right.
Okay, so this is hospitality. Mr. Hammond, could you tell us what students who take hospitality can expect to do on the course, please?
Yep, hospitality is a BTEC level 1, level 2 course. It involves 4 units, one of which is an examined unit, then there are 3 coursework units.
And what sort of activities will the students be doing?
The 3 coursework units will be based on practical work, so students need to be able to bring in ingredients for mini cooking lessons. They'll be doing a planning and preparing of an event, where they'll have to plan the event, prepare the event and serve, and then they will be doing a health and safety unit as well.
And where could the course lead to in the future?
If the student wants to continue in the hospitality industry, then they will be able to go to college to do a level 3 in hospitality. This will also lead to many degree options. This course is ideal for students that are interested in working in hotels or restaurants or bars, and the hospitality industry is one of the largest growing industries in the world at the moment, so it will open up many opportunities.
Thank you. Okay, so this is GCSE Textiles. Mr. Hemming, can you tell us what students who take Textiles can expect to do on the course, please?
Okay, so in Textiles at GCSE, a whole range of different projects that you'll do. You'll complete a series of projects in year 10, and then going on to one major project in year 11. It's all about making of garments and textile designs and the theory that goes behind textiles and fashion. And you will also do an exam. The exam's worth 50%, and the coursework is also worth 50% of the total mark that you get. All of the GCSE is done in year 11 in terms of what you get as a final outcome. So year 10 is all about practicing and preparing and trying out different techniques and learning all new things to do with textiles.
Great, and where could it lead to in the future?
Okay, so textiles, obviously in the obvious trade, so textiles, fashion, clothing design, design for things like apparel, so things like bags and coats and all those sorts of things, but also more unusual occupations that you may not consider, so things like occupations where you need very, very fine hand skills. So even things like surgery, where you have to be able to, to sew and control very small tooling. A vet, we've had students in the past that have gone on to be vets because of their skills in being able to stitch and being able to use tools in that sort of capacity. So there's a whole range of different areas that you can go into, as well as things like retail, fashion retail, and even down to things like shop work, but also buying clothing and textiles.
Thank you. This is full course RS. Miss Huggleson, could you tell us what students who take full course RS can expect to do on the course, please?
Right, this year it's a new course. We're going to be doing 2 religions, and we're going to be, half the course is about philosophy and ethics, so we're going to be looking at the creation of the world, we're going to be looking at secularisation, forgiveness, abortion, euthanasia, human rights, which is what is behind there, and all things like that, ethical and moral decisions.
And what's the breakdown of the course in terms of exam and coursework, please?
There's no coursework, it's 100% exam, and there's 3 exams at the end of the course.
And where could the course lead to in terms of future prospects?
Well, because of the way the course is now, it's about everyday life. So ethics and philosophy, which is 50% of your grade, is based on that. You can do anything to do with people. You can end up working for human rights. You can end up working, the obvious one I suppose, as a priest or whatever. But social work, teaching, anything that involves society and people, RS will help you with that.
Thank you. Okay, this is GCSE photography. Miss Nash, could you tell us what students who take GCSE photography can expect to do on the course, please?
Yeah, it's a 60% coursework and 40% externally set task. In the coursework unit, you'll do a project learning about how to use your camera creatively, learning how to do things, how to use depth of field, fast and slow shutter speeds, and lots of other creative techniques. You'll also learn how to use Photoshop to edit your photos. You'll also look at all different types of photography, from advertising, still life, art, and documentary, and just really, obviously it's quite a specialist course, so you'll learn all the basics to do with photography.
Great. And where could the course lead to in the future?
Well, it's obviously a specialist course, so it'll lead on to, we do A-level photography now at St Julian, so it can lead on to that and a career within the industry.
This is GCSE Sociology. Mrs Evans, could you tell us what students who take the course can expect to do in sociology, please?
Sociology is the study of society, so it's asking questions like, are men and women equal? Why do the working class appear to commit more crime? Are we brainwashed by the media? So we study topics like family, education, crime and deviance, and we look at perspectives like feminism and Marxism and functionalism. There's a lot of group work involved, a lot of discussion, a lot of debate and essay writing.
And what's the breakdown of the course in terms of exam and coursework, please?
Sociology is purely exam. There is not a coursework element, so you have 2 exams and you sit them at the end of year 11.
And where could the course lead in the future?
Sociology can lead to a career working with people, so that's almost any career. In particular, sociology graduates might go on to careers in law, journalism, publishing, teaching, social work. The list is endless.
This is GCSE Geography. Miss Davis, could you tell us what students who take geography can expect to do on the course, please?
Right, there are 2 taught units, both worth 40%. The first unit is all about Wales, landscapes in Wales, rivers, and the ecology within Wales, as well as then a module on tectonics. The second part is all about how humans affect the environment around, so ecosystems, development and inequalities, as well as climate change. You'll also then be expected to complete 2 pieces of field work, which are worth the remaining 20% of the course, and there will be a fun foreign field trip for you to go on within that as well.
Take geography. Great. And could you tell us what it can lead to in the future?
In terms of future prospects, obviously you can go on to do A-level geography and then various different qualifications, including a degree in geography. Different careers that are related to it are things like town planning, surveying, working as an oceanographer, teaching, anything really to do with marketing, travel and tourism and the world around us would appreciate some kind of qualification in geography and that prior knowledge.
This is GCSE Art. Miss Nash, could you tell us what students who take art can expect to do on the course, please?
Yeah, in year 10 you'll start your coursework unit, which is a self-project. You'll learn many different art skills, develop your drawing and painting, doing collage, photography, printmaking, ceramics and many more.
And what's the breakdown of the course in terms of coursework and exam?
It's 60% coursework, which you do in year 10 and through to year 11, and a 40% externally set task.
And where could the course lead to in the future?
Well, there's lots of different prospects within art. You can go on to do an art foundation course, which you'll specialise in a different area of art, which could lead on to jobs such as animation, game design, interior design, an architect, illustrator, fashion designer and many more.
Thank you.